Coming up on Vegas Nation Blitz, make that 3 in a row.
Raider Nation, we got to keep it rolling. Let's keep this thing rolling now. That's all I got to say.
The Raiders took down an AFC West rival in front of their home crowd.
Great game today, man. We had fun out here. Got a victory at home, defend the home turf.
We'll break down this division win right now on Vegas Nation Blitz.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Blitz. Presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.
Welcome into Vegas Nation Blitz. Cassie Soto here with you. Back to back to back. That's 3 wins in a row for the Raiders after the Silver and Black were able to defend their home turf 27-20 over the Chargers. The Raiders now 5-7 on the season as they prepare on a short week. They'll head to Los Angeles to face the Rams on Thursday Night Football. But first things first, let's go ahead and talk about this win, starting with our top stories brought to you by Capriottis. Make your game day extraordinary with Capriottis. Order now. Joining me now is Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Vinny Bonsignor. Vinny, the Raiders put on a show for the fans at Allegiant Stadium on Sunday. When you look back at that 27-20 win over the Chargers, would you say that this was the most complete game of football we've seen this team play so far this season?
Yeah, and there's still room for improvement. There were 2 turnovers. You hate to see that, and I'm sure the Raiders weren't happy about that one bit, nor should they be. You can't have 2 turnovers like that. They fell into a 10-0 hole, and so that they had to, dig themselves out of. So it was a complete performance, as complete performance as they've had this year, but it still wasn't a perfect performance or even close to it. And I think that that's what gives them some encouragement, is that even in a game where they didn't get off to the start that they wanted, they turned the ball over a couple of times, they were still able to rally and play their best football of the season in time to win that game.
Well, we've, of course, talked about Davante Adams time and time again, the Raiders' big offseason acquisition. But now we can talk about the other guy the Raiders picked up during the summer. That, of course, is Chandler Jones, a 3-sack day for Mr. Jones. This is the performance that everyone had been waiting for, wasn't it, Vinny?
Yeah, absolutely. And he looked electric out there. And, they've been telling us, talking to folks, hey, the sacks will come. He's also playing really well against the run this year. So, but for Chandler, he gets paid by this for sacking people. There's no question about that. And he was able to really get after it yesterday with 3 sacks. But I urge people to go watch the tape and watch number 90 getting pushed up front. And that's Jerry Tillery quietly. Kind of in a low-key way, a gift fell into the Raiders' laps. He might not be, as Josh McDaniel talked about, always the guy that's getting the sacks, but he's helping other guys get to the quarterback. And he has a way about him in terms of getting upfield from the interior of the defense to draw multiple players to him, which frees other guys up to do their thing. So a big pickup, Jerry Tillery, and Chandler has definitely benefited from his presence.
Well, let's talk about the other side of the ball now, Vinny, and that's the Raiders' offensive line, a position group that I think has shown a lot of improvement, maybe the most improvement so far this season. We know at the beginning it was rotation after rotation, but now they've found a group of guys that they can depend on, and that kept Derek Carr clean on Sunday, Vinny.
Yeah, no sacks, no negative yards as well in the run game. So, one thing that's great about football seasons is we look at it sometimes as 17 games and think, well, that's not a long season. Well, it is a long season, actually, in terms of length. And there's a lot of work that's going on. You see the games, but there's a lot of also work during the week. And one thing that you like to see as you're moving forward for any team, really, is just units improving, players improvement. And that's what you're seeing with the Raiders. And to your point, that offensive line, it took a little while for them to finally settle on who the 5 guys were. But it's hard to argue right now, and recently, and especially yesterday, the results. I know there was a lot of frustration from fans over what are you doing? How come you're rotating guys? Well, they needed to figure it out. And they gave themselves the necessary time to do that. And they feel like they're in a pretty good place now moving forward. I do think that there's going to be, at the end of the year and, draft and all that, There'll be some other additions with the offensive line, but for right now, it's playing about as well as they have all year.
Well, I know I asked the guys in the locker room afterwards after this win, how sweet is a win, but especially a win over a division rival. And they all, of course, agreed that it did taste a little bit better, especially after the off-field drama that happened during the week. And again, Vinny, just from your point of view, how big is a division win, especially now closing in on that gap in the AFC West, the Raiders?
Yeah, and I think you're bringing up some the barbecue chicken that was on the menu. With the off-field drama, players definitely got a kick out of that, and really serving it up to Keenan Allen. That's what happens sometimes when you put it out there like Keenan Allen did. The Raiders heard it loud and clear, and they delivered a message to the Chargers wide receiver.
Barbecue chicken, baked chicken, barbecue chicken. That's all I got to say.
That's all you have to say, right?
Barbecue chicken.
But look, it gives them an opportunity to continue to play for something this year, more meaningful than just, trying to get this thing on a right track heading into next year. Now they've really put themselves, or worked themselves into a position where if they win against the Rams on Thursday, they're 6-7, which is exactly where they were last year at this point of the season. And we all know that they rallied to win 4 games from that point on to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that's going to happen again this year, but you know what? Until you're mathematically eliminated, you still have an opportunity. And the Raiders are playing really good football right now. I wouldn't say as good as anyone else in the NFL, but it's getting up there the way they're playing right now. So if they can maintain that and keep it going, you never know what might happen. And whatever does happen, it'll have merit this year in terms of the big picture here.
Around the League, brought to you by South Point Sportsbook. Download the app at southpointsports.com. It's Heidi Fang and Adam Hill, our NFL and Raiders writer, and it's time to take a look at some of the key matchups happening around the league in Week 14. Starting off, Adam, with the Bills and the Jets, 2 teams here in the AFC East that could be vying for seeding, as it looks like right now, or even a playoff spot if you're the Jets. What do you make of this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, this could even have AFC East title implications. The Jets still have an outside shot to get there. Of course, their chances were better going into last week. They go lose that game on the road against the Vikings, but they're still very much alive, not only potentially for the AFC East, but certainly for a wild card in the AFC. So a lot of eyes of Raiders fans might be on that game as well, hoping the Jets kind of fall off a little bit, open the door for teams like the Raiders and potentially the Chargers, even the Patriots down the road to sneak into one of those playoff spots. But the Jets have been so good all year because of their defense. They've been very, very good on that side of the ball. They've added a little bit of explosiveness with Mike White, a guy nobody expected to be their quarterback, and I don't know that he's the long-term answer, but short-term, he's providing them some energy until teams start to figure him out a little bit. I don't necessarily think it's going to be long-lasting success for Mike White for long, but the success is there right now. So could be an intriguing matchup there. Certainly the Bills have turned the ball over so many times this year. Josh Allen, of course, leading the league in turnovers. Injury might have a little bit to do with that, but certainly some sloppy play, some regression on his part. But the explosive plays, the exciting plays are still there. So a fun game to watch. But I would guess that the Raiders fans in general will be cheering for the Bills here to knock the Jets out of that playoff spot.
All right, sticking with the East, but now in the NFC, the Eagles and the Giants are another intriguing matchup when you talk about playoff implications. Adam, what do you make of this one?
Look, the Giants are on a stretch of playing a lot of teams in their division. Their record says that they're a contender. Some of the underlying metrics would say that they are not. One site has them as the 3rd worst team in the entire league, despite being in playoff contention, but they're still right there with a chance because Brian Daboll has kind of brought some magic to them. I still don't think Daniel Jones is a long-term answer at quarterback, but he's done enough. The defense has been opportunistic. Eagles are the far superior team right now, and they just keep floating through. Look at the Giants. All you need to look at is the fact that they are a team that is in playoff contention, and yet every week they're underdogs no matter who they're playing. The power numbers would suggest they're just not very good.
D&R House of Diamonds is Las Vegas's elite private office jeweler, the perfect bridge between internet pricing and a traditional brick-and-mortar jewelry store. We specialize in loose diamonds, natural and lab-grown, engagement rings, fashion jewelry, custom design, and jewelry repairs. We operate by appointment in our beautiful offices in the One Summerlin building, downtown Summerlin. Our great relationships with the world's largest diamond wholesalers and our low overhead saves you hundreds, if not thousands, on your purchase.
With Capriottis, game day is always extraordinary. Fuel your passion with our award-winning cheesesteaks, in-house oven-roasted turkey, and classic subs. Or create a fan frenzy with our catering trays that are perfect for any crew. At Capriottis, we deliver extraordinary to you.
Mic check.
Playing the division game, the implications that it has is always huge, especially that team. That's a good team. They got a great quarterback. They got some good receivers, and obviously Eckler is who he is. So just to come out and see how we played them, we really gave them 10 points with the turnovers we had. But the defense, man, they held us down today.
It's just a great feeling to know we went out there, competed with a hell of a team. You know what I'm saying? And we got that in us to compete with anybody. I feel like.
It's the best, every time you line up Denver, Chiefs, the Chargers, you want to beat them, and every time we do, it's a great feeling. So we definitely got some more work to do. We got the Chiefs again, it's our last division opponent, but right now we're focused on, getting our bodies back together and get ready for Thursday in LA.
Cassie Soto back with you, and I am joined by Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist Ed Graney. Ed, the Raiders are, of course, riding a 3-game win streak as they prepare for LA on a short week. But something that these recent wins have in common is that the Raiders have found themselves in early deficits and have somehow found a way out of those deficits. Against Seattle, it was an opening drive interception. This Sunday, it was a pick six that got them down early. When you think about those deficits and how this team has been able to rally and get those wins, what does that tell you about this team?
Well, it tells me they're coming to better understand what Josh McDaniels wants them to do. He talked about that at his press conference today, Cassie, where it wasn't going to be, perfect right away in terms of schemes, in terms of what he wanted to do, in terms of terminology and communication. So that tells me that they don't overreact to, bad things happening quickly because they have a better feel and a better sense of what he wants from them as the game goes on. Earlier in the year, that wasn't the case. So if you get down, it's hard to come all the way back. We know they were 0-6 in one-score games to start the year. They're now winning these one-score games, and I think a lot of that has to do with they're far more comfortable in the sense of what they want to do on both sides of the ball with this new coaching staff.
Well, I know we've talked about it before, and that's the relationship that's been built between Derek Carr and Davante Adams. It was all the rage at the start of the season, and it took a few weeks for that relationship to come together now here in the pros, of course. But the plays that these two are able to make, and Davante Adams especially, that this relationship that they have is really something special. And we're seeing it time and time again, be created on the field here in front of us.
I'd like to think it was because Fresno State won the Mountain West Conference Championship this year, but I'm probably wrong about that. Look, they played together in college. They worked out together in the offseason. Working out together in the offseason has nothing to do with the real football game, the speed of the game, what it looks like when you get out there in an NFL field. So again, like the team taking time to understand what Josh McDaniels wanted, even these guys, as close as they are and as long as they played together, we're going to take some time to get that timing down. And once they have, you've seen in the past few weeks how dynamic that can be. I mean, Davante Adams, I can't remember a route he hasn't had where the defender hasn't fallen down. That's good. That's how good a route runner he is. Derek just has to get him the ball in most senses, and he's not having to thread needles on Davante because Davante's so open. So, they're coming together. They're clicking about as well as they could click, for this entire season. And if they keep doing this, they're going to have a chance to keep winning more games.
Well, on a short week now, Ed, what do you think the message is as the team prepares to play the Rams at SoFi Stadium on Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, the message doesn't change, right? They're 5-7. They were 2-7 a little while ago. It does not change. It has to be on to the next game. You can't look back. You can't look forward. You can't worry about who the Rams don't have out there, all the hundreds of millions of dollars in salary on the IR. That's when you get caught in this league. Weird scores happen each week in this league. We know that in terms of spreads, in terms of who's supposed to win each game. So they just have to approach this as they've approached the last 3 games and not worry about anything else other than the Rams and playing their best game. It is on the road. That can be dicey sometimes. So no matter who the Rams have out there, the Raiders just have to worry about themselves and, executing what Josh McDaniels wants them to execute. And I think they should be fine Thursday.
Thank you, as always, for tuning in to another episode of Vegas Nation Blitz. For all of your Raiders news, updates, and injury reports, you can head on over to vegasnation.com. And being that it is a short week, Vegas Nation Game Day will air early on Thursday morning. You can catch that at 7 a.m. ahead of the Raiders-Rams kickoff set for 5:15 p.m. For our entire Vegas Nation crew, I'm Cassie Soto. We'll see you soon.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Blitz. Presented by DNR House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.